Welcome to week 1 of Runner's Month. The first step of building our endurance is developing our aerobic system. It took me a few years as a runner to really get my head around this concept, the idea that sometimes going slower will eventually help us go faster. In some running communities, people call these easy miles, and easy miles sometimes are considered junk mileage, but that's not necessarily true. When developing an aerobic development program, the aerobic training session should actually be a majority of the running that you're actually doing. Some of the adaptations that we're hoping to build as we train our aerobic system are things like muscle fiber type development, mitochondrial development, cardiovascular health and cardiac output development, and last but not least, we want to teach your body how to better utilize fat as fuel. Although this might sound a little bit complicated, we got you. So just keep an eye out on the blog posts, the articles, and some of the content we're going to release in the next month. We're going to make this whole month a way to educate our running community on how to become a more efficient, a better runner, and actually start enjoying running a little bit more. So how do we do this? What we have to do is we have to figure out what your anaerobic threshold is, or basically how fast we can train or how hard we can run before we start getting out of our aerobic system, we start getting into our anaerobic system. Without getting into a whole lot of detail on that, a very simple formula for that is 180 beats per minute minus your age. If you're new to running, I'd actually go a little bit lower than that. I'd actually take 5 more beats per minute off of that. So an example, if I'm 30 years old, I'm gonna take 180 beats per minute minus 30. That makes my max heart rate that I'm gonna train at 150 to be in my aerobic zone. But then if I'm a newer runner, I'm gonna take 5 more off of that. So I'm actually gonna be training around 145. The easiest way to do this is to use an actual heart rate monitor. Like the MyZone's pretty cool. The MyZone links up with most watches, Fitbits, those kind of things. So this is a Garmin watch, and I use my MyZone that shows me as I'm going what my heart rate is, and I can adapt my efforts to make sure that I stay underneath that 150 beats per minute. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, that's okay. We're gonna have them on sale, number 1, so you can get a MyZone this month. Just take a look at the monthly newsletter for more information there. Or what you could do is there's a couple ways to kind of get around that, right? One is what we call the talk test, which is while you're running, you should be able to have a full-on conversation. Not as accurate, but if you don't have the technology, at least it's some way to be moving in the right direction. And then also what you could do is focus on your nasal breathing. If you close your mouth and you breathe in and out your nose, by the time that you can't breathe out through your nose, you have to start exhaling through your mouth, you're probably running a little too fast. Those are 2 like cheats to be training in your aerobic zone, but people that train with a heart rate monitor typically see better progress in their running. So there you go, that's this week's challenge. This week's challenge is for you to perform a 30-minute aerobic training session. This means that you're gonna figure out what your aerobic heart rate is, 180 minus your age, and you're gonna do 30 minutes underneath that threshold. This week, use the hashtags FOFRuns, FOFChallenge, and time to fly. Wednesday is Global Running Day, so hashtag Global Running Day if you do your run on Wednesday. For every separate 30-minute aerobic session you post this week, you'll earn a raffle into this week's contest. And this week's contest giveaway is actually donated by HOKA. So HOKA sponsored this whole month for us, and we're gonna have a pair of shoes each week in the giveaways for doing these weekly challenges. So let's get running. Time to fly.